What is going on, my frosty friends? My name is Wintercasice, and welcome to my channel. Uh, I wish I could be my normal cheery self, very happy, very excited, very ecstatic to see all you guys, but I'm kind of coming here on different terms, because there's some bad news out there. For those of you who are unaware, recently YouTube has been going through a new change of service, terms of service more specifically, and it could very well be what seals the coffin on a lot of channels. So, to give a little backstory of what's going on, what this is about Coppa. Coppa is the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, and it was initially created in 1998 to protect children from giving out their own information like their address and their phone number or anything like that online. Now, with that being said, in 1998, when the internet was still very young, it was the best way to do it, and it makes perfect sense. There's no problems with that. They did do a rechange of Coppa in 2013 because of the fact that YouTube and many other online sources were using, I believe they're called internet cookies. Basically, they're like tracking your like online history, being able to see what you've been looking at, so that way they can target ads at you. Now, that stuff technically at the time was not breaking Coppa, because in 2013 the only rule was that the kids weren't giving out their information. But that changed in 2013 when the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, who are in charge of Coppa, they updated their information so that way it included, cookies and giving out, tracking their information in general. Now, for most companies, I can definitely see that they took that into heart and they were like, okay, we will just not do that, and we'll find other ways to do this to make money for their websites. Google, on the other hand, for YouTube, apparently decided not to listen. And granted, YouTube did get into trouble back in 2013, and then they created YouTube Kids, which has kids channels. And I would know this. I have kids. My kids watch YouTube Kids, and I've seen the content that they watch, and that's all perfectly fine. It's all stuff that is suited for children. But YouTube statistics and everything have proven that kids are still using YouTube's main site to watch content, which means that they are vulnerable to taking a look at channels like, many other, like any other website or anything. They can end up going to channels that aren't necessarily suitable for kids. And apparently there were conservative groups, I believe that's what they're called, that primarily focused on the fact that YouTube had broken the rules and basically made it possible for kids to watch content on their site, and that they were able to be on the adult section without worries or anything like that. Basically, it was proven that they were still collecting data on these kids. Now, with that being said, with this year, they were able to prove that, and YouTube got a fine, and YouTube had reached a settlement. Now, this is the kicker here. Now, they had to pay the FTC $170 million. That is now no small amount of money. That's ridiculous, but at the same time, for what they did, it makes perfect sense. But now, that word that I used just a moment ago is the problem. Settlement, not finished. Settlement, as in YouTube and the FTC agreed that there would be more to it than just the fine. So what's going to be happening on January 1st of 2020 is that a new set of regulations will be set up to make sure that kids' content gets separated from everything else. If you have a YouTube channel here on the site, you will have to, on your studio app or on YouTube, on your studio section, it'll ask you, is your channel's intended audience for kids or for adults? When I first heard about Coppa, I thought to myself that it wasn't a big deal, that it wouldn't affect me. I was wrong. I'm not monetized, and I thought to myself that if I'm not monetized, I'm not making any money off of it. YouTube's not promoting my content anyways, so I don't have to worry about this. I could not have been farther from the truth. It turns out, even though I am not monetized, even though I am not making content that would be making money or get any advertisements whatsoever, I can still get into trouble. And I'll explain why. So with this whole system of choosing whether or not you are a kid's channel or an adult's channel, you have to pick it very carefully. Because if you don't, you could get into even bigger trouble. Because YouTube has now washed their hands of this whole situation. In their settlement, they made sure that the FTC, to tell the FTC that, hey, we paid our fine, we understood what we did, we warned our content creators. If there's content on there that the FTC does not approve of, they're not going to be coming after YouTube, and they're not going to be coming after Google. They're going to be coming after me and any of you guys that have a YouTube account, or more specifically, any of you guys who make content here on YouTube. What that means is that if you violate their rules, you could get into some very serious trouble, and I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. So, basically, I have to now, whenever I post a video, I have to decide whether or not it is intended for children or not intended for children. And I could do that with any video I post, and obviously, for the most part, I can click my stuff as not for children. I play rated M for mature games, such as Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2, and so on and so forth. Games like that are not suited for children. But most of you guys who watch my channel know I don't care if it's meant for children or if it's meant for kids. If I find the game fun, I want to play it. And you guys have seen me do that with so many games. Whether they were indie developed games that were games that could be suited for children, and games that were essentially suited for adults. And it's like, but kids are still interested in them. It's a conundrum. So basically, if I label something wrong, if, like, say for example, let's just say for example, a game I play here on the channel, I play Pokemon Reborn. I love the game. It's a lot of fun, and I've been wanting to continue the series. I found out about this stuff, and I did my own research. And because it is a Pokemon game, even though it's not an official game, and even though in the very first video, I talked a little bit about how it was not intended. It deals with darker subjects and all that stuff. If I mark it for adults, if the FTC or if YouTube's own algorithm system states that it is actually this content is intended for kids, and they'll change it for me, I could end up getting into trouble for that. In fact, I could have my video taken down. I could have my YouTube account completely taken away. And even worse, I can get a fine of up to, if I remember correctly from the website, up to $42,530 to be exact. I don't know about you guys, but I make negative dollars every month. I don't make enough to be paying a fine of that magnitude. I don't even have enough to pay a couple $100 fine if something like that happens. It is terrifying to even think about. Now, I could just claim all my videos are not intended for children. They are not meant for kids to see, because technically my content isn't. My content's more aimed at teenagers and up. Because as far as YouTube goes, technically, YouTubers have to be 13 years of age or older in order to have an account in the first place. And with that, technically the FTC shouldn't have any say in it in the first place. But because kids typically either use their parents' accounts or they lie on Google because they can do that about their age, they can make content of their own and they can watch people's content on the main site. Now, I'm not saying my content's intended for children, but I always said that, and I remember this very vividly in some of my first streams and some of the stuff in my videos when I first started, that even though my content is not directed towards children, I know for a fact that there is a chance children might see my content. I don't curse. I don't do anything bad like that. So even my games that are intended for older audiences could be curved and looked at as if I was making them for children. which is bad, really, really bad, because now it makes that certain videos that I've made, and just to list a couple right off the top of my head, Undertale, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Monster Hunter World, and Origami, which is a video I just posted recently, like, freaking Mario's, the Mario fan game Matthew made, the Sonic EXE game that Matthew made, and so many others that have video games that, while in context, they were not meant for kids, could appeal to kids. And because of that, if I mark them as not intended for kids, and they decide that, oh wait, no, it has Mario in it, it has Sonic in it, Monster Hunter World is considered a rated E for everyone game, or even Overcooked 2 that I played with Abby, technically is a family-friendly game and is rated E for everyone. So which means that would classify as a kids game. Now, if I post it as a kids game, that doesn't matter. Like, I won't get into trouble if I list it that way. But if I do that, and this goes for every family channel out there, if I post a video that is stated to be a kids game or a kids video, like the intended audience is for children, the things that will happen, just a few examples. I don't have the list on me right here, but I know these very vividly because I've taken the last couple of days to actually do the research to figure out what the main stuff that's going to happen for a child's channel. First things first, your comment section has been eliminated. The community tab on your channel is gone. You will no longer be able to post anything to your channel story. The two of these things I don't use, but the comment section I use vividly for you guys. My videos will no longer be able to be added to playlists. My videos will not be able to be looked up. YouTube will not push my videos. And also, I'm not making any money, but if I was making money, I would lose 60 to 90% of my profit. Again, that part, it doesn't bother me because I don't make money here. It doesn't matter to me. That's not a big deal. But to somebody who does make family-friendly content, or content that could be directed towards children, and they have to list it, like one of my favorite YouTubers, Brian Hull, does Disney videos. Really awesome dude. I think he's highly entertaining. His channel is essentially destroyed because he will not be making money off of his content anymore. He is a voice actor, and his videos is literally him doing impressions of Disney characters, video game characters, and all that stuff. And since that stuff is geared towards children, and all of his content is essentially geared towards children, he can't make money off of it. And that sucks so much. But now, gearing back to me, not to sound selfish, but gearing back to not necessarily me, but to gaming channels and channels like comic book channels, gaming channels, Lego channels, freaking skull, like art channels, like, because I love those channels. Those are my go-to. Those are my bread and butter. When I go to YouTube, I'm looking up video games. I love seeing people build things. So like sculpture videos and all that stuff are really bomb. I love watching them. Arts and crafts videos are really cool. Freaking comic book stuff. I watch the Jovenshire on a regular basis. I love his content. And he deals mostly with comic books and talking about like superheroes and all that stuff. And I think that's so cool. But that stuff, while it's not intended to gear towards children, because adults love that stuff. I'm 24 years old. I love video games. I love superheroes. I love comic books. I love art. I love sculptures. I love like how people build things. Like that stuff is so cool to me. But according to the FTC, that stuff technically relates to children. I actually do have the list of stuff that, because this is something I looked up because of the fact that, this stuff affects me. I looked up to see what exactly the rules are for what is defined as a child's content. And I would normally have it like put up here on the screen, but more than likely I'm recording this literally right before I stream. So I'm not going to have time for that. I'm just going to be posting the content. When deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should consider various factors, including A, subject matter of the video, ergo educational content for preschoolers. That makes perfect sense. If I was making educational content for children, of course, that stuff would be, for kids. I feel bad for people like Vsauce, which that is essentially their channel. Whether children are your intended or actual audience for the video, that really screws me a little bit, because while children aren't my intended audience, I know for a fact that children do end up watching my videos from time to time. I'm not going to name names, but I know a few of them, and they're fine. Like, if they're 12, it's like, I understand. Like, I'm not trying to get information from them or anything. I'm not asking them for anything. But if they leave a comment and they tell me, hey, I'm 12 years old, like, hey, good for you. It's like, I can't control that. That's so vague that that's actually scary. Whether the video includes child actors or models, that doesn't affect me. That doesn't affect me whatsoever. Obviously, I'm the only one here. Whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures. That affects me slightly because of the games I pick. And it's like that stuff, like celebrities amongst children, all that stuff, that's fine. That doesn't bother me. Like, but animated characters, cartoon figures, like I play video games, like that stuff can be classified underneath that. Whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand. I say, dude, what's up? And I do say, dude, what's up? And what the heck, man? And all that stuff over and over and over again. Technically, while that's the way I grew up, that was the way I learned to talk. But technically, the word do, duh, and all that stuff is in the FTC's database, are listed as words intended for children. Whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, and this is the one that screws me the most, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education. Again, so very vague, because video games are listed underneath that. If I even list games underneath in the tags of these videos, that can land me into trouble. Because even though I could be playing a rated M for mature game, a game not intended for children, does that classify underneath that? I don't know. And because I don't know, it could land me into a lot of trouble. Whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems for children, that stuff doesn't bother me because I don't do any of that stuff. That's fine. Again, really screws some other channels, but that doesn't screw me. Any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience, like empirical evidence of the video's audience, which basically would be my YouTube statistics. And as far as my YouTube statistics go, it doesn't necessarily say it's for kids. Actually, I haven't checked in a bit. I'd have to double check, but I guarantee you there probably is a couple percentage points into a younger audience, which is not good. At the end of the day, this is so vague. And stuff like this is terrifying for somebody like me. Because while, of course, this is even more terrifying for bigger YouTubers, people who make content for kids basically have to forfeit making any money. And content creators that I love, that like video game content creators like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, people like MatPat and all them, their stuff is geared towards all ages. They don't necessarily pick an age group. They post videos, and if kids watch it, kids watch it. What makes this all the worse is that in the past couple years, YouTube has been telling their content creators, hey, don't swear in your videos. If you swear in your videos, we're not going to approve of it. And it's like, and because of that, it's something that could end up being, it's something that could be potentially bad, because that means a lot of their videos could be geared towards children because they don't cuss. And it's even worse to the thought process that if I want to make content on this channel, here on YouTube, I have to start cursing in my videos. I don't curse that much in real life. I mean, I do it when I'm having a good time and I'm goofing off with friends or something. Like if I drop an F-bomb or an F-bomb somewhere, or I'm just saying son of a gun or something like that, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you guys who have played with me outside of recording and everything know that I drop some curse words every now and again, especially if I'm having fun. That stuff is fine, but I always kept it cleaner for YouTube because of the fact that they didn't approve of people cursing. And I was like, oh, you know what? I don't curse that much anyways. I don't mind it. It's fine. But that is potentially bad for a lot of content creators out there, because that would mean that their content could be seen as directed towards children. And I can't if I accidentally click on something wrong, like I don't know what it could be. Like for example, for me, some of the videos I've made, I can't determine whether or not it's geared between kids or adults. Like for example, Monster Hunter World. Me and Shadow Ripper play that game. Technically, Monster Hunter World's technically rated T for teen, but it appeals to children. What if I posted as, rated T for teen? Obviously, this must be for adults, and I listed it as not intended for kids. But then the FTC sees the video and they're like, oh, but it's video games, and the thumbnails you'd made are geared towards children and like to get their attention. So therefore, you lied to us, and we can sue you to up to $42,000. Video games that I played that I can't necessarily decide if they're made intended for children. Her Tears Were My Light was a novel game that I played that doesn't have any. It has some adult features, like the love concept in it is about the possibility of all that stuff. But at the same time, there's no swearing, no violence, no gore, nothing like that. It could appeal to children. What do? Bendy and the Ink Machine is a horror game, but even its blood and violence is minimal. Would that classify as a kid's game? Would I get into trouble for posting that as an adult's game or a kid's game? I'm currently in a state where I don't know what to do. Literally at this moment, YouTube is going to be doing this. YouTube is trying to do what they need to do to warn content creators. Not well, but they're trying to warn content creators. And I had a couple of friends on YouTube who messaged me and linked me websites and linked me to videos of lawyers here on YouTube. Not the YouTube lawyers, because the YouTube lawyers are bad. They are really bad because they're very vague. But the content, lawyers that have their own YouTube channels, they talk a lot about what's going on and what it could mean. Now, at the end of the day, that leaves the question of, what does that leave for me? What am I going to do? This channel is currently at 759 subscribers. I've been doing this for nearly 2 years. I love what I've been doing. I enjoy the heck out of the content I create. I love the streams that I get to do with you guys. But I am so poor. I can't afford to risk a $42,000 fine. I'm going to have to go through all 900 streams and videos that I've created. And I'm going to have to go through them very carefully to determine whether or not they are child-friendly or made for adults. With that being said, I don't know what exactly I'm supposed to do. Because the laws on this are so vague, I don't know what games would be technically verified for children and which ones I'm going to be allowed to post. Is any game I play going to be considered a child as a secondary audience, even if it's a rated M for mature game like Skyrim, which very blatantly says rated M for mature. But I know plenty of kids who have played Skyrim, who know what Skyrim is, love Skyrim. So what am I supposed to do? Is it my fault that a child comes onto my channel and sees a Skyrim video and watches it? Well, even though I could stay at the beginning of the video, hey, this content was made for kids, for people over the age of 13. If you're not watching, viewer discretion is advised. That's what I'm going to have to do at the beginning of every video. Maybe. And that's if video games aren't going to get axed from YouTube because it is considered a child-related content. So what does that leave for me here? Well, for those of you who think I'm just going to quit, give up, and not try, you'd be wrong. Even if I have to block every video and stream I've ever posted here on this channel, even if I gotta block them, I'm not gonna delete them because I worked way too hard to delete them all. I would just block them so that way nobody could see them. Except for me. So that way I could always come back and watch them as much as I want. But even if I have to start all over here on this channel and I have to block all my videos and start posting them all over again, I will. Because I love this channel and I love what I'm doing here. But that being said, if that's the case, then I would probably have to stop streaming on YouTube. I'd still be making videos, but I couldn't stream. Because with videos, I can edit it, I can change it, I can check it, I can make sure that if something is wrong, I can correct it right away. Whereas with a stream, I could get into even more trouble if the FTC sees it as a child, or in the middle of a stream, I could get a notification from the FTC or somebody from YouTube because they'll see in the algorithm that my name, hey, this game is being played, and it's like, oh wait, no, you shouldn't do that. I could get into trouble for that. In December, they will be making the final decision. And there is still some hope that we can get some clarification on all of this, so that way I can stop being this stressed and this worried. And what that is before December 9th, everybody here who is a YouTuber, or even as somebody who's just a fan of YouTube, can go sign a petition and also go to the FTC website and very, very kindly give them your opinion of why what they're doing is not the way to go about it. Because this is going to have some very negative I can't use that word properly. This is going to have some really bad repercussions. There we go. Because basically this was meant for the kids. This is going to be the worst thing to happen to kids, because that will eliminate all family-friendly content. Because I don't know many YouTubers that could, afford to lose 60 to 90% of their profits and continue doing YouTube. So family-friendly channels that make, family-friendly, that play family-friendly games, who do family-friendly, like, sketches and all that stuff, they're going to probably stop because there's nothing for them to gain here. And what's going to happen to, gamers like me who make games, and who watch their language and just keep it cool and everything, just to try to make sure that if a kid does pop on, they're not going to get a bunch of inappropriate content. What they're going to get instead, because kids are not going to stop coming to YouTube. They're not going to stop. And as much as the FTC, YouTube, or anybody here online wants to, they can't stop a kid from lying on the on the Google Terms of Service and claim they're over the age of 13. And what they're going to find is a bunch of channels that now have cussing in every single video, very content that is not intended for children, like blood, like gore, violence, disturbing content, sexual content. All that stuff is going to end up on YouTube. And kids are going to find it. And they're going to get that kind of exposure, which is actually really bad. And now that they're not going to be having, target searched advertisements, they're going to get generic advertisements like beer commercials, condom commercials, all that stuff that's like just very, very generic. And because they would go for anybody. It's like these people complain about YouTube with what's going on right now. If this passes the way it goes, it's going to be a whole lot worse. So I implore you guys, if you make content here on YouTube, make sure you're double checking all your stuff. Go get legal advice if you want to keep your videos up. And because I'm not somebody I can't give you guys legal advice. I am literally trying to figure this stuff out on my own and watching YouTube channels that have lawyers with them to try to cover myself. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of making sure you guys keep yourself safe. And for me, I have to cover my own back and try to figure this out. But we can all work together, and we can all sign the petition, make our own voice heard from the for the FTC, so that way they can give clearer rules on what is classified as children's content and what it's not. Because if this is the way it goes, the way it is, this channel might not exist next year. I don't want to delete this channel. I don't. I enjoy this way too much, but I can't risk losing that kind of money. Because then I'll end up in jail because I can't pay it. But it's not worth the risk. Don't get me wrong, enforcing something like this would be really, really hard, but it's not something that I can take lightly. This is an actual genuine threat on my livelihood, and it could get me thrown into jail, and I can't do that. Not because it's just for me, but I have a family. I have to provide and help take care of them. And I can't risk that. Does that mean that's the end of Wintercasice? No. If worst case scenario, we don't succeed and YouTube stays as vague as it is, I'll still post content if I can here on YouTube. But I'll probably be going over to some of the stream sites for streaming. That does include my Twitch channel, which I have not used that much, but I guess this is more of a reason to do it more than ever. And also, I was very kindly invited by some of the higher ups over at Caffeine, which is another streaming site, to go over to their channel, to go over to their website and create content for them as well. It was very sweet of them to ask, and I'm actually very highly considering it with everything that's going on. That being said, is this the end of Wintercasice? Will you guys never hear from me again? Of course not. I'm not going to go anywhere. Are you kidding me? The Discord still exists. I'm not going to take it down. I love talking to you guys. My Instagram and my Twitter are still up. I am always trying to post pictures and always trying to voice my own opinion and my own thought process on all this stuff. And that's not going to go away. And even if I'm not posting content here on YouTube, I'm still going to be posting content on Twitch and on Caffeine, and if I can, I'm going to be posting content here. But of course, I could be blowing this all out of proportion. I'm not, but I could be. And it could be not as bad as we think it's going to be. The rules could be very, mild and very hey, only this stuff. And at that point, I could be all like, oh, I can make a video that says, oh, okay, so I was wrong. It's not going to be as bad, but it could be. And I can't roll the dice on this. We are nearing the 2-year anniversary of this channel. And it is so sad for me to say that there's a chance that there won't be a 3rd year anniversary. To all you Frosty friends out there that have been supporting this channel since day 1, or if you just subscribed today, thank you for just being you as a person. Supporting, awesome, kind, and willing to listen to what I have to say. I know I'm a nerd and I'm a dork and I'm not that entertaining. As much as I'd love to say that I am, I'm not. But for everything you guys have done for this channel, whether you watched one video or you've been supporting all the streams and videos since day 1, thank you guys for giving me probably one of the greatest experiences in my life. And I'm not going to cry, even though I feel like I'm going to cry. Because this isn't goodbye. Far from it. Because I will fight this as much as I possibly can. I will get the word out there as much as I possibly can. Because I don't want to see this end. But I will say, guys, thank you so much for watching. There's no good way to end this. So just take care, guys, and stay frosty.